Good morning. My name is Mesha Kodiko, a teacher of biology. Welcome to our lesson of today, which is going to tackle the regulation of the amount of light during accommodation. In our previous lesson, we had seen what accommodation is, and we said it was just the adjustments of the structures of the eye so as to bring into a sharp focus the images of either near or a distant object into a sharp focus. So today we want to look at in different light intensities. There are times when you are in a place where the light intensity is low, or rather what we can say in a dim light. What are some of the changes that occur to the muscles of the eye, that is the iris of the eye, so as to accommodate that light? In a dim light, or rather low light intensity, there are events that take place in the structure of the iris so as to accommodate the dim light. We tend to open wider our eyes when we are in a dim light. Why does this happen? This is what takes place. From our diagram, you can see that the eye has got two types of muscles, which again work antagonistically. We have the radial muscles of the eye, those ones that form the radius. You can see the reason why we call them radial muscles, they occupy the radius. Then we have those that run circular to the pupil of the eye. This is the pupil here. But the amount of light that enters the pupil is controlled by the iris, the structure, the alterations that take place in the iris, and therefore, this is what takes place in a dim light. During that time, the radial muscles of the eye will contract. When they contract, that means that they become shorter. Then, the circular muscles, on the other hand, you can see they relax. When they relax, that means that they can easily be manipulated. So the contraction of the radial muscles and the relaxation of the circular muscles enables the size of the pupil to enlarge. When the size of the pupil enlarges, then the amount of light that enters the eye increases. That is in a dim light. So I'm saying that in dim light, the radial muscles contract while the circular muscles relaxes. That one enables the size of the pupil to increase due to the contraction of the radial muscles that tend to pull to the outer side of the eye, thereby enlarging the pupil. So more light is encouraged into the eye. In a bright light, on the other hand, the opposite takes place. So for example, when you are in a dark room, then all of a sudden light is shown, then you will tend to close your eyes first before you gradually open them. I hope at least we have experienced this during blackout. Then all of a sudden power comes in then you are going to realize that you first of all close your eyes before you open it. What brings about this behavior of the eye? This is what takes place. During that time, the radial muscles are going to relax. When they relax again, they become easily manipulated. And at that particular time, you are going to find that the circular muscles are going to contract. This contraction of the circular muscles here is going to pull now the muscles towards the pupil. So the pupil becomes smaller in size. Look at what is taking place here. That's why I was saying you close your eyes. By closing the eyes in a bright light, that means that the eye cannot accommodate that light abruptly. So first of all, the eyes need to adjust by the circular muscles contracting, then the radial muscles relaxing. The contraction of the circular muscles and the relaxation of the radial muscles is going to make the size of the pupil become smaller so that little light is allowed into the eye to enable accommodation. That is the two events during a dim light and during the bright light. So we can now at least understand why sometimes when you come out of a bright room, then you go out, then you realize that because you are in a bright room, you go out, you tend to find that the outside becomes darker. But with the time, you realize that it clears up. That is because of the what? The contraction of the muscles that is making you to open wider the what? The pupil, so that you accommodate the dim light. And at the same time, we know very well that mammals, like human beings, for example, do not see well during dim light because they do not possess many rods, as in the case of nocturnal animals that have got more rods than cones. Rods perceive light of low intensity, while cones will perceive light of high intensity. What is the reason for that? It is because in the rods there is a photoreceptor pigment that is called rhodopsin, while in a bright light, when we have highlight intensity, the cones contain a photoreceptor pigment that is called iodopsin. That is how the light is regulated during different light intensities. Again, we want to look at defects of the eye. Many a times people complain about maybe not seeing objects that are far away, those that maybe somebody cannot read a book at arm's length and can be able to see things that are far away. So there are defects here. Number one, we have a defect that is called short-sightedness. Many a times, many students talk about short sight. Short sight is not any defect. Don't talk about short sight. We talk about short-sightedness, or rather, if that is not very maybe good for you, then short-sightedness is also called myopia. What causes short-sightedness? There are two major causes of short-sightedness. Number one, an individual may be having very long eyeball. A very long eyeball therefore tend to make the light rays to become greatly diverged so that they don't get focused on the retina. And at the same time, when the length is too thick, the lens is too thick, this one will make the images, instead of it being formed on the retina, but it is formed in front of the retina. That is short-sightedness. How do we correct short-sightedness? It is corrected by that individual wearing a diverging lens. We talk about, don't say putting on. We don't put on. We are wearing of a diverging lens so that those rays are brought into focus. The next one is what we are calling long-sightedness. Long-sightedness, again, we are not talking about long sight. Long sight is not a defect. So if you talk about long sight, you're going to realize that you may not get it right. Not that you may, but you not get it right. If you don't want to talk about long-sightedness, then we are talking about hypermetropia. Hypermetropia is a condition which is caused by, again, two ways. One, when the eyeball is too short. At the same time, when the lens is now thin. So there are two causes. Number one, short eyeball. Number two, we have thin lens. What is the effect of the short eyeball and the thin lens on the refraction of the light rays so that the images are formed on the retina? This will make the rays to be greatly converged, so that what is going to take place, instead of the image being formed on the retina, it is going to be formed behind the retina. if you look at the diagrams of correction, then you look at where the image, all of us know very well that the images are formed on the retina, and then if they are not formed on the retina, then we are going to maybe get a defect. Other forms, maybe the defects of the eye is what we are calling astigmatism. We have cataracts and old sight. So if you look at what we are talking about, the accommodation and how it is accommodated, the images are accommodated on a dim light and the bright light, and at the same time we have now seen the defects of the eye, that is short-sightedness, long-sightedness, astigmatism, cataracts, and old sight. That is our lesson for today, and I want to thank you very much for listening to me for this lesson. I hope we meet next time for another lesson.